Yeah, if you're getting close to retirement, yeah, there's once you hit 50, there's the catch-up provision, and then now there's these weird little provisions from 61 to 63 that allow you to put even more money away. So
Okay.
very strange because it's only a couple of years, and for some reason, when you turn 64, you don't get to do it. Welcome to Wealth Creator Radio, where we help people overcome the uncertainty of having enough retirement income. I'm your host, Eric Heckman, a certified financial planner with over 30 years of experience. We want you to enjoy life and not have to wonder where your money will come from and how long it'll last. My mission is to show you how to develop a personalized income plan so you can retire more and have worry less wealth. Here at Wealth Creator Radio, we cut through the noise and get straight to what matters. We understand that the world of retirement planning can be filled with confusing products, ever-changing tax laws, and volatile markets. That's why we're here to help successful people like you navigate the uncertainty and create a blueprint for a thriving work-optional life.
Hey there. Thank you so much for tuning in to Wealth Creator Radio. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer. We have some good stuff to get to today. In fact, something that might really surprise you. According to the latest federal data, the average American 65 and older is going to spend about $5,200 every month. Now, that's more than $61,000 a year. And if you want a retirement filled with, everything, travel and eating out all the time and that freedom to enjoy the time you now have, your real number will probably be even higher. So the big question isn't how much have I saved? It's can my income actually cover the life that I want, the life that I'm dreaming of? Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial is here to break it down for us. So as we get started, here's the phone number that you'll want to have. Anything that you have that you're thinking, hey, I want more information about that, then you can get that by calling or texting the word visit to 800-454-1184. You will hear Eric talk about his toolbox, okay? This is something that has a lot of retirement resources that you can get just by clicking the link below, okay? Or you can text the word toolbox to our number as well. But you can get the books that Eric has written. All right, Eric, so great to be here with you.
Yeah, it's great to be here and going over how to spend money, right?
Exactly.
So that's a big one.
You've been doing this a long time, over 30 years, so you certainly know what you're telling people about. You have the wisdom. All right, so let's start with the big picture. Why is spending, not saving, the real story in retirement?
Yeah, well, I always tell people the most critical number is how much are you going to spend. Why does that matter? Well, if you make 1 or 2% more per year, it's going to make a little bit of adjustment in your retirement. But if you spend $1,000 more a month, a year in retirement, it makes a huge difference, a big difference. So it's really trying to get a really nailed down real number. I mean, 5,000 is kind of interesting. That's every once in a while I run into somebody who's like that, but pretty rare. I find most people are more closer to 8 to 10.
Whoa.
So
Yeah, well, that is the average across the country. We know
Right.
things are way higher here in California.
but I mean, part of a lot of that is also, do they still have a mortgage or not? Right. So that's, you can definitely be at 5,000 if you don't have a mortgage. Yeah, that's more likely. But and those things just keep going up. I've got one of my clients, Beth. She was talking before about this, how she had figured out most of her expenses doubled, not in 20 years, like kind of more typical, but within 10 years of retiring.
Wow.
And and that's just because of some of it's for fun, some of it's having good time, all that type of stuff, right? Going on trips. But yeah, just stuff gets more expensive, and like you said, you often want to go out more. Why cook so much, right?
Yeah.
Go out and have dinners and things like that. And all those little things add up. So yeah, getting a really good number and handle on that spending, I think is the biggest thing that people need to really kind of, nail down, especially right as they're retiring.
Right. And then they're saying that housing is the biggest expense. So around $1,850 a month. It's going to vary, of course, all across the country.
Yeah,
That's just the
that'd be a
average.
pretty good bargain for around here, but yeah.
It would be, I know. But, that's almost over a third of the budget. And then transportation, they're saying $795 a month. We know Gas prices are way higher here. And then food, another $665. So what's your reaction to these numbers and kind of make it more relevant to where we live?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I think most people, depending on when they bought the house and stuff, I mean, some might have bought it long enough and they've got cheap enough mortgage. Maybe it is only 2,000, but it could be 2 to 4,000 just on that alone. And then of course you're talking about all the other costs, right? Insurances and everything else. So, yeah, I mean, I think the easiest thing to do is I like to do this thing called the no BS budget, where you look at your last 12 months of withdrawals from your checking account, add those up by 12, or add those up and divide by 12, and that's really what you spent. That's when you wrote that check to pay off that credit card, that's in there, so you don't have to go look at the credit card spending. You just need to look at that bank account, and I'd say almost always it's 20 to 40% higher than what people think.
Hmm.
They remember the mortgage, they remember the property taxes, right? They remember the big ticket items, but you forget all the you know the door dashes or the nights out or the
Amazon.
whatever. Yeah, Amazon, right? And all that stuff. So once you add that all up, it's like, oof, that is a lot more money. And so again, figuring that out, and then also figuring out what's the reality check of how you're going to be spending that money, because you got 7 days a weekend. You don't have to only go do stuff 2 days a week. You can do it every single day.
That's right.
And so if you're a golfer, that means you'll be golfing tons more, but that might come at a cost, right? Or, depending on whatever you'd like to do. Now, if it's gardening, well, maybe it's not as expensive, right? So,
Yeah.
so it really just depends on the hobbies, depends on what you're going to be doing with your time. Most people have a bucket list of things they want to go do travel wise. So, you got to kind of figure out what's that annual number and divide that by 12 and throw that into your monthly number too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
we like to call that your fun fund.
oh, I like the
And
fun
so,
fund.
you want to have that fun fund
Yeah.
booked, because, and so those are some of the biggest areas to be really focused on.
Right. But then there's healthcare too, right? So they're saying, around $650 a month. Fidelity estimates about $175,500. So that's over retirement, I guess, for one person though. So how big of a risk is healthcare, Eric?
Yeah, no, I mean, healthcare is one of those things that most people get through their work. And so when you're looking at that monthly bill and how much your monthly expenses are, oops, you forgot the, the premiums, right? The copays you would have in there and things like that, but the premiums you don't.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, now we're talking, Medicare Part B or Part D, supplement, all that stuff. So easily 400 per person probably. And then, throw in, copays, prescriptions, all that kind of stuff. Right. And so, yeah, so you definitely need to have a plan for that too, because of, it's just going to be, it's just another cost, right? It's just another thing to throw in the bucket. Now, if you're trying to retire pre-65, then you really need to add that in, because
Yeah.
that's probably 1,000 to 1,300 per person
Mhm.
until you hit 65. So that can be pretty ugly, and a huge cost if you're really trying to retire or before 65.
Right. So all these things that we are talking about, you're offering a chance for people to come in, and let's get specific on your own numbers, you, the viewer, the listener. And so that number to call, or you can text the word visit, is 800-454-1184. Let's get you a plan started. Eric and his team do this. They are right here in Silicon Valley, but of course they work with anybody who's watching us. You can be helped, of course, via Zoom. So Eric would love to give you some guidance about retirement. That's what you guys do at Heckman Financial, don't you, Eric?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, when you're talking about having this plan, the first and foremost, of course, you got to have an income and spending plan, right? Where's the money going to come from? If I'm going to be spending, 5, 6, 8, 10,000, whatever per month, is that going to last till I'm 95 or last till I'm 75? 75 means you need to change your plan a little.
Yes.
95,
Yes.
95, you're probably okay. So, that's one of the big ones. And then obviously you have to look at where those investments are. Are they in the spots that you need to have them in to pay for that income? Will they provide income? Because growth doesn't count as much anymore. Now you need, stuff coming out. And then lastly, what's the taxes on those three areas? So income, investment, taxes are highly, related to each other. The other two areas, healthcare, like what you just mentioned. And then lastly, legacy. Who's going to get your stuff when you're gone? Is it stuff titled the right way? Is everything set up the right way? So, again, if you want to reach out and get a little bit more information, all you got to do is text Toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, this is a lot of great quick downloads online. Text the word Toolbox 800-454-1184 or click the link below.
Do you know whether your retirement plan has any weak points? Discover ways on giving your financial future the proper tune-up. Simply go online to wealthcreatortoolbox.com to gain a better understanding in taxes, Social Security, and other ways to manage your portfolio. That's wealthcreatortoolbox.com.
Hi there. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. And most of us spend decades learning how to save for retirement, right? We max out our 401ks. We watch that balance grow. But there's almost no education about the next chapter, and that's turning that balance into income. So that's where we're going to start right now, Eric. Why do so many people struggle with this transition?
Yeah, well, I mean, who teaches you this, right?
Yeah.
Nobody. Your parents, usually lots of times people don't talk enough about money, right? So that's one issue. And they may have had a pension. They may have been all fine. But yeah, for you, it's okay, figure it out, right? And, here's your 401k, go for it, right? And it's like, so how do I get this money out? How do I get a paycheck, right? All those types of issues. And of course, the number one fear for people is running out of money. And that's again, because nobody's being taught how to take this money out. Nobody's really doing the analysis of it. And really most of the investment houses, the brokerage companies and, everybody wants to manage your money. They don't want you taking it out, right? They want you to take it out super slow. So they keep getting paid. So yeah, it is a little tougher than people think, and they don't realize it until they get there.
Yeah, that's so sad, because people are fearful of spending what they've worked so hard to save. So what exactly is missing here, Eric? What does the problem look like in real numbers?
Yeah, well, a lot of times people don't know what that gap is, and so when we talk about that income gap is, if you're lucky enough to have a pension, but most of us don't. So it's probably just Social Security, and then everything else is you, right? So if you need whatever the number is, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month to live on, if you're getting say $3,000 from Social Security and you need $9,000, well, that means you got a $6,000 gap, and you're always told never take money out of your retirement accounts, never take money out of your retirement accounts, and then I have to take out $6,000 a month out of them now.
Yeah.
So it is kind of crazy. And most people, the only advice they get is, okay, take that, 4% rule or take some little bit amount out and then, hope it's all going to be okay. And, retiring on just hope, that's a little scary. That's not what we want with our clients. We want an actual plan. We want actually money that we know is going to be coming in. So that's the tough part.
Right. Very, very tough. So, and then, you worry about every market decline too. That's scary. If you're really just have a portfolio and you're pulling money out, that's super scary. So, obviously we have to cover the essentials in retirement, but honestly, it's not just about, paying the bills. What about, those trips on our bucket list? Maybe a trip to Italy or maybe something with the grandkids or funding their college, or that vacation home. How does someone actually give themselves permission to enjoy what they've spent a whole lifetime preparing for?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we call retire more with Worry Less Wealth, is we want people to retire more, meaning, more trips, more whatever you want, right? More helping the grandkids, more, whatever is important to you. And the sad part is, lots of times people, they don't want to spend. And you'll talk to their adult kids and they'll say, I don't know why they don't spend money. And then lots of times they're saying, oh, well, we're saving more for our kids and grandkids. It's like, okay, first of all, why don't you guys talk? And secondly, how do, if you know how much you can spend, if you have an income plan. So this income plan would say from, here we are now and we're going this direction. How do we make sure we're going to have that money last? And what's the taxes along the way? And, will that money make it to age 100? And, once you know that, then it's more about where should you be putting your money now in terms of investments, Where should you have some guaranteed funds for the market declines? Should you do, some other changes to your portfolio to structure to have money coming out? Because you've been 30, 40 years going one direction, right? Money going in, going in, going in. And once it comes out, the ball game's totally different. So, and that's our specialty here at Heckman Financials. That's what we work on. That is our main focus with all the people that we work with. So, if that's something you want to get some information on, we've built out this digital toolbox. It gives you some access to some quick reads like, will my money last as long as I do? Like what we're talking about, Social Security timing decision, copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth, and even wait a set of time with us at Team Heckman here. So all you got to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or click the link below.
I'm so happy you're spending part of your day with us today. You are listening to Wealth Creator Radio, watching Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman and myself. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer. And, Eric and his team, just like we're talking right here today, and I'm asking him questions, they're here for you. So any questions that you have, they would love to guide you. Eric has been doing this for a long time. Eric, how many years?
Almost 34 now.
Yeah. See? 34? Is that what you said? Yeah. Look at that. So he's helped people retire. All these people retire, so it's not their first rodeo at all. And they want to guide you. So for someone realizing they've never really mapped out that income gap, and separated, what they have to have to their dreams, how do you start that conversation with them?
Yeah. So almost every time I ask somebody how much money they spend monthly, they will often tell me like what their average credit card bill is every month, their mortgage, maybe a couple other things. And I find the number they tell me is almost 20 to 40% off almost every time.
Gosh.
I had one couple that she thought it was $6,000 a month. He thought it was 13. And it turned out it was 13.5.
Whoa.
That was what they were spending. So she had no clue. He was at least pretty close.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and it's not that people lie intentionally. It's just you forget about this, you forget about this, So the only way I've really developed, and it's super simple, and it's not complicated, and I like to call it the no BS budget. Mm-hmm. All it is you add up the 12 months of withdrawals from your checking account, and hopefully you're paying off that credit card every month from that checking account, so you don't have to look at your credit card statement. Checking account should have paid for your property tax, for your insurance, for all those funky things that, home repairs, other stuff, right? And, that is the real number you spent. And once you know that real number, you divide that by 12 and that's the number you need. And so that's not going to change in retirement. It actually goes up probably because, now, you're not commuting, you're not doing some other stuff, but now you have to pay for medical. Now, you hopefully have more trips and because you get more time to do fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you want to add in that fun fund. And so, that's one of the most critical things is knowing that number.
Yeah. The other day, my husband told me we had just spent $2,000 on one of our credit cards, which we used for Amazon. And I'm like, what? But we did go on a vacation too, but we drove. But still, oh my goodness, I had no idea. But every retirement, all the people that you've helped, everybody's retirement's different. Mm-hmm. They have different income. Their Social Security is going to be different, all that. So how do you make that plan fit that person?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the problem is a lot of stuff that you see online is very generic, very general, and doesn't really apply to you and in the nuances of your situation, right? So some people just want to stay at home. Some people want to go out and do all these great trips. Some people want to spend a ton of money golfing all over the place, and that's going to cost money, right? And some may just want to quilt and knit, and it doesn't cost as much. So, what does your retirement look like? What does your plan look like? And once you have that personalized income plan, then you can see it all out for your situation. How much tax you're going to pay? How do we lower your lifetime tax bill? What monies should you take when? How much money should you have guaranteed to make sure you weather those downturns in the market that always happen? How do you know you're going to be okay and be able to retire more with Worry Less Wealth? Well, that's what we do here. So, if you want to get access again to that toolbox, all you got to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox, 800-454-1184, or click the link below.
If something's worth doing, it's worth doing right. There's a particular time of life this phrase couldn't be more appropriate. How can you know you'll live the retirement you've always imagined? After all, life can be so unpredictable. You've worked hard and saved. Watch your accounts go up and down with the market. Your advisor says, don't worry, you'll be fine. But you still don't feel confident. Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial has a checklist to help you find out if you're on the right track for retirement. If you can check all the boxes with confidence, you may be ready for retirement. If not, Eric can help you address any potential costly mistakes. To get Eric Heckman at Heckman Financial's complimentary checklist, call or text LIST to 800-454-1184. Call or text LIST to 800-454-1184. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hi, I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman, and we thank you so much for hanging with us today. We were talking about one of the most distinctions in retirement planning, and that's the difference between your must-have expenses, things you have to cover every month, and then just, what you want to do in retirement that's going to make your retirement worth living. Now, Eric, let's talk about how to build that income plan that's going to be able to fund both. So you have, sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah. So, that's, there's a couple things that you want to do is you want to make sure you know how much you're going to be spending. And, the last segment there, we were talking about the no BS budget. So finding out what that real spending level is. And obviously one thing is just covering your main costs, right, Jim? What is that number that you have to do on an average monthly basis? Because, there's obviously like Christmas time where people spend more, and it happens to be also property tax time for us. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes at tax time, you have property tax and tax payments, right? So there's certain times of the year where sometimes it gets a little bit lumpier. So we want to have that, averaged out. And, then look at, what kind of income do you always have coming in, right? So that'd be like Social Security, pension, if you have anything there. And then how are your assets structured? Because that's one of the biggest problems. Most people are structured only for growth because that's what you were trying to do for the last 30, 40 years, right? It was just trying to get that nest egg bigger and bigger. You still need some of that money in growth, but you also need some money that's guaranteed, that can't go away, because then that way you could take some of that money out and use it year by year to live on, right? And then, you need some stuff that's paying good dividends in cash flow, because you're taking out money every single month, right? So how are you going to get that paycheck? And then of course, lastly, you do want to have that growth. So that's why you want to kind of layer it in, what we like to call foundational, steady income and growth.
So you mentioned people using a pension, as part of your main income for retirement. But for a lot of people watching, they don't have that pensions like their parents had, they don't have anything like that. So talk about that, how you help someone build that basic income floor when that cornerstone of a pension isn't there. They have Social Security, but not a pension.
Yeah. So a lot of people are very worried about that, and rightfully so. And I've seen numerous different academic studies that now show that because of longevity, because we're all living so much longer and stuff, and with AI and advances there, we might even live longer. So, what happens if this money needs to not only last 20, 30 years, but maybe 40, 50 years, right? I mean, who knows? Right. And so, so one of the ways to do that used to be having a pension, but those are pretty much gone. And so now with insurance companies, you can actually get kind of a thing that's like your own pension. The pension or annuities, they're payments for life. So really a pension's technically an annuity. Yeah. Same with Social Security is technically an annuity. Annuity just means income annually. Obviously, that's where the annual and annuity the starting part of those words both come from. And, most people don't want the type where you have to give away your principal, because that's just a little harsh. So there's some great ones nowadays where they'll just keep paying you a set income. One of the impressive things is there's a lot of products out there now that will actually often double your income if you ever need long-term care. So, it could be a way to help pay for some long-term care issues and other things. So yeah, if you have not looked at these in a long time, as a fiduciary, as somebody who's has that standard of care to do what's in your best interest, we're going to present you with things like this. It doesn't mean you have to do them, but we're going to give you that option. Now, there's some big firms out there who say, "Oh, we won't ever do annuities, and we don't like them, and you shouldn't either." really, because people love their pensions. People love their Social Security checks. Having an income for life without having management fees on it or without having to, have it in the market without any risk, there's a lot of peace of mind to that. So again, I don't limit myself. What we do is we actually make sure we have all the tools and all the options for people, and then see if it's up to you. But yeah, I think more and more people are starting to realize that having some sort of check that they can't outlive, especially for a married couple, is very nice.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so with you on that. Now, I taught for 7 years, so I have a teeny little pension that already started. It's only like $400 a month, but hey, I'm happy I have it, right?
Yeah.
But for people who don't have those pensions and they're looking at their savings and they're like, I'm not sure if I saved enough at all because all these things I want to do in retirement, I don't think I'm going to be able to do. Does that mean they have to scale back their dreams, Eric? Or, you talked about a few options. You want to get into that a little bit more, maybe options they haven't considered?
Yeah, well, lots of times people talk about the 4% rule, which is saying, take 4% of your assets with a little bit of, inflation adjustment every year and such. The problem with that is, if you don't have enough, like you said, well, that may not be enough money to live on, and that's not going to be a fun lifestyle. But lots of times with these lifetime payouts, often you can get, depending on your age, it can be, 5, 6, 7, even 8 or 9% if you're, turning these on, a lot later in life. So that is one way to kind of skip past that 4% and get to be a higher number. And by having that, then you're going to actually have more cash flow and hopefully be able to retire better. And then once you have that money going, it doesn't go away. And so there's just a lot to be said for just the no freak out factor. Right. So I don't know how to put a numeric number on that, but for some of my clients, they just love the fact that, hey, it's coming in and, never is going to change. It's always going to be there for me. So it's great. And so, you just have to figure it out for your own situation. But again, that's why we sit down with people and we actually go through this plan and we build out, their blueprint. So we show them that customized income plan, show them how their investments are doing right now, and then run that out for retirement and see, is it going to last or is it going to run out of money? And if it's going to run out of money, well, what kind of changes can we make to make sure it's going to last? So again, if you want to have a chance to set up a time and talk with us, just text the word visit to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word visit 800-454-1184 or click the link below.
We're so happy you joined us today. This is Wealth Creator Radio with Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial. Wherever you are viewing this, you can get guidance from them. Okay. They help people all over the country, not just where they're located in San Jose. So keep that in mind too. And their system is working very well. So they've been helping retirees for almost 35 years now. So, each of you are going to retire one time and they will help you because they've seen it all. So we're so happy you joined us.
Only one time, pretty much.
Yeah, only one time. So for someone listening, Eric, who has most of their savings in that traditional IRA or 401k, and they haven't heard of like that bucket list, you were kind of alluding to some of that. Tell us how you help them figure out where they stand between, just that whole bucket list theory.
Yeah. So, basically the easiest way conceptually to think about this is, think about, you've maybe got 3 different buckets and one of them is going to be a guaranteed bucket. And so that means you can take out so much every single year. It won't go away. It's going to earn some money. But that's less of an issue of just making sure you can withdraw that for that 10 years. In the meantime, you can let the part in the market kind of just go for it. And so you can let that one grow and go. And then after the 10 years is up, that one bucket's going to be pretty low. You can move some of that market money back into one of these guaranteed buckets, kind of start the whole process over. And then that third bucket would be just stuff that's, maybe paying some extra income, some dividends. Obviously want some money just in savings to, for those emergencies. But yeah, if you do it that way, it's an easy kind of conceptual way to see it. And then, you're going to have that money, but again, that's why we set up a time, and there's no cost, no obligation to just have a 15, 30-minute phone call with somebody from my team. So if you want to go ahead and take advantage of that, just text the word visit to 800-454-1184. Again, text word visit 800-454-1184 or click the link below. This is Eric Heckman. I'm excited to share a sneak peek of a movie I co-produced, The Psychology of Retirement.
Who are the baby boomers?
If I had to describe the baby boomer generation in one word, it would be independent.
To be honest, I have done zero preparations.
My number one fear about retirement is the future. 20 years from now. I just want enough money to be able to live.
The whole purpose of money is to give yourself a better life, not just for your money to pay your bills, but to reduce an amount of anxiety and uncertainty that you have in your life so that you can actually enjoy these years that you probably spent decades building up for.
To get your free link to the movie, text the word movie to 800-454-1184. That's movie 800-454-1184.
Investment advisory and insurance services offered through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc., an SEC registered investment advisor. Hey there. So thank you. You're joining us today. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman of Heckman Financial. He's a certified financial planner, and he helps plan your retirement. And we all need help with that. There are so many details. Retirement is not just about stepping away from work. It's about keeping that life that you love, and then planning for your future and making sure, you're going to have the future you want, being confident in that future. Today, Eric Heckman is going to share with us 5 savvy strategies to help your retirement savings work harder for you. All right, Eric, where should we begin?
Yep. Well, first one's just making sure you're saving on taxes, right? Making sure you're funding those retirement accounts, make sure you get that money getting plowed away. If you're younger, it's pretty simple. Just start at least maxing out that 401k, right? Get those matches. If you can start building up even beyond the match, which usually caps off at 6%, try to do that if you can. But you also want to save some stuff in medium-term money and short-term money too. So you want to have a little bit of blend if you're younger. But if you're getting close to retirement, there's once you hit 50, there's the catch-up provision. And then now there's these weird little provisions from 61 to 63 that allow you to put even more money away. So very strange because it's only a couple of years. And for some reason, when you turn 64, you don't get to do it. So
that is weird.
Not sure why we killed 64 as the age right before 65.
Yeah.
But, that's Congress for you.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things you want to do is make sure, that you're funding these accounts.
All right. So great starting point with taxes, because that's where you can end up losing a lot of money if you're not planning for it. But what would be the next step then?
So what you want to do is, really start, looking at that money and start building it up more, having that money grow more over time. If you can add Roth and have more tax-free money, that's going to be good. But really what you want to do is as you get closer to retirement, that's where you may not want to just do that 20-30 fund or whatever. You might want to start getting a little bit more detailed on how's this money going to pay me income? How's it going to give me cash flow? Because you need to make that shift over at that point.
Very good. Now, what about, the simple way to keep building our savings, and then timing when it comes to work? How long do we work? All that.
Yeah. Obviously, the longer you get the money to save, the longer that money growing, the better off you're going to be, right? So, there's studies where somebody from 22 to 30 puts money away, and it's the same money as somebody who put money away from age 30 to age 65. Just because the growth of those early years is so huge. So that's not something you can do backward, right? If it's,
I know.
if it's already too late for that, whatever it is, just keep putting money away now.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting to turn on that Social Security can help a lot. Working a little bit longer might make sense. So it really depends on your situation. But again, that's where you need that income plan to help you figure that out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, but my husband and I, Eric, we were not, we were not focused on long term. When we were age 50, we were like, our eyes opened, and we each were in different careers, and we were like, wow, we got to start working on our retirement. We hadn't been saving at all. So, we didn't have all that compound interest. But boy, we have worked so hard the last 18 years, 17 years, and now we're in a much better place. So it can be done.
Good.
Just got to
Yep.
focus. Yeah. We started turning things around. So now I think we're going to be all right. But boy, we were scared there for a while. Like, oh my gosh. And we did wait. We're both working, of course, still. And we waited to claim our Social Security till full. He's still waiting. But I did claim it at full retirement age. So it's all good. So all this is so good to think about. And then we're going through 5 savvy strategies about, protecting your retirement income. What's the 4th tip?
Yeah, well, the 4th one is, when you get that extra, either if you're doing extra work or you get a raise or refund or whatever it is, start putting it away, right?
Yeah.
Don't spend it all. I mean, I think one of the best things you can do anytime you get a raise is maybe give yourself your take home, maybe get it 1% more, but put the rest of it away, because then you just still rewarded yourself. You got a little bit bigger paycheck, but
Yeah.
maybe you got, say, a 4% raise and you put 3% of it away into savings. You're not going to notice that money being gone because it was new to you.
Right.
and,
Yes.
and if you got that 1% still, you go, oh, I just have a tiny bit more money.
Yeah.
So
That's a good feeling.
so that's one of those things that again, when you're looking at having that income and spending plan, anything you can do to raise that amount of money that you're putting away, invest a little bit more, that's just going to pay off in the end, and pay off pretty big, because those little things can definitely help out a lot.
Yeah.
And so it just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of planning to do it, and like you said, what you and your husband did takes a little bit of discipline,
Right.
right? When you get to go, okay, is this really going to be a priority of ours, or what are we going to do later that if we don't do it now, right? So
Exactly. So this right here, like somebody like my husband and I would come to you and your team and say, at age 50, oh, wow, we are way behind, and this is exactly what you do. You guide people and you help them come up with a retirement plan. And so it's never too late to get started. So if you want to go in and visit with Eric and our awesome team at Heckman Financial, they focus on taxes, but also they focus on retirement planning. So talk about that a bit. You do taxes for people too, but then another part of your strategy is to really help people with their retirement plan, Eric.
yeah, so I think one of the biggest problems in my industry is lots of times people say, oh, you should convert to Roth. Well, what would that mean? And they say, oh, go talk to your tax person. And the tax person says, well, you should go talk to your investment person. And then you get this, you go talk to who, and they're pointing at each other and the client's being ignored, and I've seen this so many times.
Yeah.
And so I think it's ridiculous that people could be in my profession and not really be trained on taxes, because everything we do is tax related, right? Turning on Social Security has tax effects. Funding Roth, doing Roth conversions, doing long-term capital gains, dividend, all this stuff's tax related. So how could you not be trained on taxes, right?
Yeah.
So and that's one of the reasons why we also set up that digital toolbox for people to get information, because I think information is probably one of the biggest things out there. There's a lot of people who say a lot of stuff, but what's pretty much just what's just honest, straightforward, simple to read. And so what we did is we put up some quick reads up there. You can call them white papers, whatever you want to call them, but they're 10 to 15 pages, pretty jargon free. Things like, will my money last as long as I do? Social Security timing decision. Are you paying too much taxes in retirement? All those types of issues, and even a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth. So, again, if that's something somebody wants to take advantage of, all you have to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. You can text the word toolbox 800-454-1184, or click the link below online.
We're so happy you're spending time with us today. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer, and we're talking about just strategies to make your retirement income last. And so all these habits that you told us are a great place to start. Plan out your taxes, save more, wait to turn on your Social Security, or at least have a strategy, and put your money to work. What would be the final step?
Yeah, final one's just watch investment costs and how you're investing. There's nothing wrong with paying fees or costs as long as you're getting value for it. but sometimes people don't know what they're paying. And then they also don't know how they're invested and that they're, buying the same stocks over and over in different funds and different places. So, again, having an analysis done on that is super critical because there's a lot of info there that you need to know. And, if whatever XYZ company has a bad day in the market, how did it affect your portfolio? Are you having returns from stuff that's not in the stock market? Are you having guaranteed type of returns that can earn, 8 or 9, 10%, a year without having risk? There's lots of options out there. But again, if you want to take advantage of those, all you have to do is text word toolbox 800-454-1184. Again, text word toolbox 800-454-1184 or click the link below.
Would you rather pay more or less in taxes? If you want to pay more, don't do anything. If you want to pay less, talk to Eric Heckman to see what's possible for you. 800-454-1184. That's 800-454-1184.
Hi, I'm Lou Ann Fulmer with Eric Heckman, president of Heckman Financial, where their mission is to get you to and through a worry-less wealth retirement. So it's time now I'm going to have you give us an example of someone who has experienced one of those retirement obstacles. Have you kind of explained that to us? We call it a financial fail.
Yeah. So, when you're working, you get that W-2 and you do your taxes at tax time, right? And you either owe money or get money back. And there's not necessarily a lot that you do typically, right? And so I had a client, Dan, he came to me right when he was turning 70 to retire. This was back before they raised the limit to now 73 for required minimum distribution, but he was going to have his required minimum distribution that same time frame. But, he'd retired. He figured he'd be in a low tax bracket. He'd gotten married with his wife kind of late in life, just a few years earlier, actually. And so they both had waited till 70 for Social Security. So they're getting like 80 grand of Social Security.
Wow.
The first year, only 14,000 of it was taxable. So Great deal, right?
Yeah.
But then he would take money out of his retirement account. Well, all he had ever done his whole career, and again, he met me right as he was retiring. He was supposed to plan ahead.
Late. Yeah.
Not the day of. And, and so when he did that, everything was pre-tax. So there was nothing we could do tax planning wise. And so that next year he took out money out of his IRA because he had to, and with a required minimum distribution, plus he needed some of it to live on. And all of a sudden 56,000 of that 80,000 of Social Security was now taxable.
Oh, no.
Because he took money out of his IRA. So a $30,000 withdrawal from an IRA caused another $40,000 of taxable income. It's like, what? How is that possible, right?
Wow.
So he was so surprised at tax time that guess what he had to do to pay the taxes? He'd take more out of his IRA.
No.
And so the next year, 70,000 of his 85,000 of his tax was taxed.
Oh my
of that
gosh.
Social Security. And again, we're not talking, people talk about, Roth is for leaving more money to the kids, and if I don't have kids, why do I care? And, blah, 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 stuff like that. Right.
Yeah.
No. This is how the IRA, how his 401k was affecting his Social Security taxation. You don't get told about this, right? Nobody talks about that aspect of things. And so that, again, that's something where had we thought about this ahead of time, had we met 5-6 years earlier, 10 years earlier, we would have had some time to say, let's start doing some Roth stuff. Let's do some other stuff where we have some money that's tax free or tax advantage. So we don't have to jump up into these higher brackets, cause all sorts of other taxation. Right. And so again, when you're building that blueprint to worry less wealth, you want to have that income plan for life, making sure that money lasts. You want to know how that money should be invested, but also you got to know the tax ramifications of every bucket of money you got in there. And then, of course, the healthcare issues and legacy issues. And that's the 5 areas that we focus on in the Blueprint to Worry Less Wealth, something we'd love to help you out with. Thank you for tuning in to Wealth Creator Radio. I'm Eric Heckman, and it's been a pleasure guiding you towards a more confident and secure retirement. Remember, my responsibility is to always do what's right for you, our client. Together, we can cut out that fancy-sounding financial jargon that doesn't help and focus on what truly matters for your financial future. If you're ready to take control of your retirement planning and build a personalized income plan, contact us at 800-454-1184 and text the word TOOLBOX to schedule a complimentary consultation. If you're looking for more resources and tools to build your retirement future, don't forget to check out the Wealth Creator Toolbox, your toolkit for a secure and confident retirement journey. Until next time, retire more and worry less with Wealth Creator Radio.
Information provided during Wealth Creator Radio is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Individuals should thoroughly review the contract for specific details of the product features and costs. Income payments and withdrawals from deferred annuities are generally taxable as ordinary income in the year they are taken. Eric Heckman offers investment advisory services through Heckman Financial and Insurance Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Any tax advice given as part of this presentation is not intended to be used and cannot be used by the taxpayer for the purpose of avoiding tax penalties or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any matter or transaction addressed herein. The views and opinions expressed in the program are not necessarily those of the radio station or its sponsors, and they should not construe as legal, tax, or investment advice. You should always consult the appropriate advisor before making any financial decision.